Hello, everyone. Welcome to chapter 264 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekend edition. And in this chapter, a friend of mine borrowed some of my hand planes and they came back with a problem. So if you want to see what it is and how I solved it, all you need to do is stay tuned. Yes, I lent three of my long hand planes out to a friend of mine. She does a project where she makes flowers out of the curl of the shaving. They're really, really cool. And I lent my three longest planes, three longest, to her. And for some reason, I don't know what happened, but when she put them away after the demo, um, they should have been in a dry place, and for some reason there was some moisture introduced to the situation. So in the end, my hand planes all came back, the three of them, looking kind of like this one. This one's actually one of the better ones. So yeah, there's many ways to remove rust. And for just light surface rust like this, probably just going to the wire wheel would take almost all of it off right away. But I decided I was going to see how good a reporter I was back in the mid 2000s. So in the mid 2000s, well, up until a few months ago, I was writing a column for the Saskatchewan Woodworkers Guild, and the column was called Shavings. And I go through an electrolytic rust removal procedure in here. And when I went into my storage garage, my kit was sitting there. Everything was in there that I needed, except I made one really, really bad mistake. I sold that old battery charger that I had. And that, you'll find out later, was a very big component to this whole process. But I thought, you know what? I should try that again. That's been, well, it's probably since, I think it's 2008. Probably since 2008 since I last tried it. So I thought, you know what? I have one hand plane that I lent her that I've experimented on all the time. I put a Lee Valley blade in it, and it's a cheap plane. It was from when I was doing my Getting Cheap Equipment to Work series when I was writing, because I had so many students that were so talented, and yet when they graduated, they had nothing. They had no money, they had no shop, they had no tools, they had nothing. So I thought, well, short of grandpa giving them stuff, what could I do? What could I test? And then what could I recommend to them in order to get them involved in their woodworking career or hobby? So, anyway, I have a few planes that I work with. And the first one I took completely apart, and I'm going to try my electrolytic rust removal the way I wrote it up in 2008. Man, it's cool getting to use your own notes for reference material almost 20 years later. So, anyway, we're going to get into that, and I'll show you how it's done, and then you can judge in the end whether you think it's worth it or not. All right, well, there you kind of have the full view of things. I got my battery charger over here, sitting a little further away from everything that's going on here, from the wet process. I've got the leads ready to go. I haven't hooked them up yet, and I'm to the point where I need to mix the solution that goes in the tank. So my tank is really quite simple. I what I must have been pretty proficient in 2008. This is really neat idea. I just welded a little U channel onto the rebar, and then they hang on the edge and they drop in, and then they're wired together with just regular, it looks like about 14 gauge wire or so. It's house wire. No, it's not house wire. It's a braided wire. But So I have the posts, I don't know, on average about 5 or 6 inches apart. Um, the tub itself, it says it's 10 gallons on it, and I just don't believe that. Can I get in there? Let's see. Can I get you a close up view? There we go. I don't believe it's 10 gallons, but apparently it is. So we're going to mix some solution and find out. Yeah, and I just made those little uh, wing nuts here. The wire wraps around a nut that's welded on to here, and it's pretty simple. The suspending part here, the part that suspends the plane body in this case, is a piece of corian, and I drilled a hole through it, put an eyelet on the other side, and the I believe it's the black terminal that goes to that, the negative. I need to double check that. It's been almost 20 years since I've done this. So, but I'm surprised how good everything kept in my box, and that was my plan when I made this. So, rust removal for me anyway isn't something I do every day. So to have everything there when you need it, even my Arm and Hammer stuff here, that So Clean stuff, that washing soda. I hope I hope you can see this because I'm in the sunlight here. I can't see anything on my screen. So that's even good yet. I taped it box shut well. It's in good shape. And I'm going to take my multimeter and do some testing once I get everything going. So that's how I set things up. This can be done by anybody. It's really easy to do. Having a friend with a welder, or if you have a welder, it's even easier for you. And I just figured out a way to suspend the plane body, and we're going to see how this works. Now I have to get the mixture of my washing soda, I have to get it above the area to be clean. So it's going to need to be up about there. So it's going to be a full tank. Um, and yes, I am doing this outside, uh, but I'll explain why maybe when we're actually taking some rust off. Okay, we'll be back. All right. Well, I've got, I think that's my fourth container mixed. That's using an ice cream pail. In Canada, that's not quite a gallon. It's pretty close. So I'm just assuming, and I'm adding 1 tablespoon of my washing soda to it, and then mixing it up as good as I can, and then dumping them in. I just wanted to show you this. I'm just to the point where I'm going to cover the plain body now. I probably need to mix a couple more of these, and then it'll be good to go. And yeah, so everything seems to be working good. So I'm going to pour this in. I wonder if I can pour it. No, I can't pour it in and show you that at the same time. So I'll put you on the tripod when I'm hooking it up. And we've got a little bit more to do, and then we can just turn it on and walk away for a bit. Well, I hope you can see this. I'm shooting video out in the sunlight, and rather than making a phone that can measure my heart rate and blood pressure, I wish they'd make a phone that you could see the screen in the sunlight. That would maybe be helpful. Anyway, my ranting aside, I'm ready to go. The electrodes are hooked up, negative onto the piece, positive onto the sacrificial pieces here. One thing I forgot to mention before when I shot this empty was I actually took my flap disc and cleaned off some of the rust. I didn't, like, it's rebar, so I didn't get all the way. They're not shiny, but I think there's enough shiny surface that'll do this. Um, I can't believe I would have had that perfectly clean when I made this, but it did a job, and then it sat for 10 years, 9 years. So I think we're good to go. I ended up putting 8 gallons in, and I don't know. I just, to me, this didn't look like a 10-gallon container, but yeah, it would hold 10. Not sure if that's US or imperial gallon. It doesn't really matter. I used a 4-liter container anyway, so I've got 8 of them in there. So that's 8 tablespoons of the the washing soda that I put in. So I think we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up. I've got everything hooked up, and notice I've tried to make sure that everything's isolated, and the battery charger is on a separate table. I don't want it close to the wet. I hadn't talked about safety a whole lot when you're doing that, but there's a reason I'm not doing this in my shop, because hydrogen gas is one of the byproducts of this, and I don't want that in my shop. So this is an outside, for me, an outside only activity. But I'm hoping this works. It's like I say, it's been 8 years since I used it. And luckily, I took pictures because I actually wrote an article for the Saskatchewan Woodworker where I detail this process. And it was kind of nice to be able to go back to that article and, okay, that's what I did. So I've researched my own, I used my own work in my research. That's impressive to me. Anyway, I'm going to plug it in and then I'm going to come back and sit down and watch. I don't know if you'll be able to see what goes on, but it should start bubbling and we're going to do it. Okay, we're on 12 volt. And they say it doesn't happen right away. I don't know if I've seen anything yet. There's a little bit of wind out here that's blowing things around a bit. It's a very, very warm day here today. Um, with the humidex, it's in the mid 30s, but it's not as bad as the last couple of days we've had. So, uh, well, maybe what I'll do, well, I think I see it starting. Nothing blew up anyway. That's a good sign. Okay, I think now it's just a waiting game. I'm gonna just keep watching it. I'll probably go work on my grandkids clubhouse while I'm waiting, and just check on it occasionally because the clubhouse is just across the backyard from where I'm working here, um, and that way I can tell. So I think I'll give it a little bit of time here. Just want to make sure that everything's connecting. That's better, I think. Now, theoretically, that should be all there's to it. As far as safety goes, I talked about it a little bit earlier in this video, but the other thing you may want to do is this washing soda is fairly caustic, I think. And you might want to wear gloves when you mix it if you're going to get your hands in it. I actually didn't this time, but I do have a pair of gloves in the container here for when I do this. It's one thing I used to always do fairly nicely. I would make something. Usually it was writing. Usually it was for writing I was doing, and then I'd put it all in a container that it was all there. And these planes have been sitting on my counter for almost a month now, and I thought, I really need to get to them. And I was thinking about different ways I could sand the rust off and do all that stuff. I thought, well, I mean, I had these planes fairly accurate. Like they were quite well tuned. And I thought, well, if I start sanding, then I got to start all over again. So yeah, I could have used steel wool and WD-40. There's all kinds of ways of doing it. But I thought, hey, why don't I try this with them again? And then I lose basically no metal. So I'm going to try it, see how good it works. And the pieces that I did for the test, that for the article I wrote, were basically what were they? They were truck pieces, like 14 gauge, not 14 gauge, 20 gauge body panels or whatever body panels are that I cut out of my Chevy truck, and it cleaned that off really nicely. So I'm hoping for the same result here. So anyway, I'm going to just keep observing this, and I might bring you back in the middle of it just to let you know or let you see what's going on. But so far, nothing's really happening. It's just dead. So, but what I should maybe do is I'm going to try to get ready and hook up my voltmeter to it and see exactly what we're getting here. That's maybe one thing we'll do yet. Okay, I'll be back with that. Well, it's about 7:30, so this has been about 4.5 hours. I'm a little bit concerned. I don't see the bubbling that I should. I used a different battery charger this time than I usually do, and I'm wondering if it's putting out enough. But anyway, I'm going to give this a try. So I'm going to, maybe we should just disconnect this here. And we're going to lift this out and see if, in fact, the rust, see, there's the bulk of the rust. And it's a little bit better, but I'm thinking this is going to need some more time. Yeah, I think this is going to need some more time. So I'm going to put it back in here, see if I can get everything the way it was. There, that should be good. And I'm just going to dry my hands here. It is wiping off, but I suspect I'm going to have to leave it for more time. With my battery charger maybe not being as powerful as it should, this will just take more time. So I'm going to leave it sit for a while and then we'll see what happens. So I'll probably leave it another couple hours and then we'll see. Okay, well, you can see the dramatic change from when I came out. That was 7:30, and I was really quite disappointed with the whole process. I played around with the battery charger. I even brought one of my, in fact, my new Power Fist charger for my 20-volt system that I just started. And I did a video about a little while ago. This is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be getting rusty and dark, and I would pull the plane out for you, but I can't. But it's, the rust has gone from a rust to a black compound, and it scrapes off fairly easily, I hope. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it like this for night. I'm just going to cover it loosely, and I'm going to plug it in the morning again, and then I'm going to see what we're going to do. And then I'll take the plane out and show it to you. But this is what it should look like. I was actually quite discouraged when I came out at 7:30, and the fluid was all still clear. There was no bubbling, nothing. This is the way it should be. So, and this is only, it's 9 o'clock now, so an hour and a half later. So anyway, we're going to continue with this. I was already thinking, okay, what can I do for another video? But we'll keep going with this one. Okay, I will plug this all in again tomorrow and show you how it worked one way or another. Well, I unplugged this for night and got out here, plugged it in, oh shoot, about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And it's just not frothing like it should. I added a little bit more of the detergent, but I suspect my problem here is my battery charger isn't putting out enough to do this. I'm simply not getting the readings that I should be getting. So, but let's take a look at it anyway. I don't think it's a total failure here. Just going to lift this out. Okay, I'm just going to set it on the edge here. And this was the really rusted side. Like that, there is, that rust has been, I'm taking it off. I'm taking the rust off with my thumb. So this process does work, but I should not have sold the battery charger that I used. Those old things, I think, do a better job of this than my new ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, and I'm just going to maybe take a SOS pad or whatever and scrub it a bit and clean it off, and then I'll have one plane clean. Well, here it is. I'll bring it up close to the camera so you can see the rust. Which side? I think, which was it? This side here was badly rusted. I believe it was this side. And I can see minor pitting in it yet, but it came nice and clean. The electrolytic process, and again, I'm not a scientist or whatever, but what happened is it changed the rust to kind of a black film that I could actually rub off with my fingers, as you saw in the previous clip. That black stuff, I think, is acting kind of the same as a rust neutralizer. I have very, very limited auto body experience. And when I was trying to fix up my old Chevy truck, the one thing you wanted to do is get the rust everywhere. And I remember putting a solution on the rust that sort of converted it and sealed it, neutralized it. But anyway, I'm not sure. If there is somebody that is a little better acquainted with this, please comment. I'm like I say, I like to learn as well. I think my problem with this whole thing was my battery charger. I don't think the new charger that I have, or it's relatively new, um, is built like the old ones were. The old ones, kind of like my new chainsaws, my battery operated chainsaw, they've got safety stuff on it that doesn't let it work like it should. And I'm pretty sure my old battery charger was just a raw battery charger and it had no circuitry for overload or any of that stuff. I'm not sure if that's it, but I just was not getting the same readings across the posts that I did with my old battery charger. So there again, maybe an old one, or maybe experimenting a little more with a power source. But I would suggest, if you had numerous items to clean and the rust was maybe a bit more severe than what I have here, that process is a good way to deal with it. The setup that I have, I'm really proud of. That putting the rebar in around, and I welded those keepers on the top. It sits in that tub perfectly. The only problem with that is my number 7 sitting here. Yeah, it's number 7. This plane would probably be a bit too long to fit in my tub. So you might want to get something a little bit bigger, but those electrodes and the way they're connected together all worked super. So like I said, the only thing missing was the battery charger, which I guess I decided I didn't need anymore and sold it at a garage sale. But anyway, is it worth it? Well, that's up to you. For light rust like I had, I could spend time at I have a 8-inch grinder with a wire wheel on it. It makes pretty quick work of this if it's not pitted in. So this one's kind of nice. I'm just going to clean the top a little bit here. There's residue from the detergent. Clean that up, and I'm going to put it back together today yet so I don't lose anything. I think it's a good way to go. Have a good old battery charger. Maybe the bigger the better. One article that I read when I reviewed this for my own sake is the bigger and the older the battery charger, the better. Although they have stated in that article that one student used a power supply from a computer to do it. So maybe Had I mixed things a little different and let things go a little longer, I suspect turning it off overnight didn't help. So, but anyway, with that in mind, this is something you can try. If you have a lot of rusted parts to clean, this could be a good way to do it. And once you get it in the mixture, you can walk away. Like there's nothing that you have to tend really. So, but is it for all things? Probably not. But anyway, with that in mind, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Even watch the videos. Tell your friends about it. I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep on doing 2 videos a week. I have to admit, getting a little burned out. So we'll see what happens. But in the end, I'll tell you if I'm going to go down to 1 or if I'm going to take a little break. But we'll sort that out. So with that in mind, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you on the weekly edition, probably later next week, since this one was a little late this week. Take care.